Hey folks, Elaine Marolakos Edelson here with AstrologyMojo. Want to help you get your mojo back. So welcome. We are a day away from December. So here's our Oracle reading session for this month. At the end of every month, I like to do that to get you a leg up on what's to come and what you're creating, not just random stuff. Okay, so we're going to have a few choices here. But before I do that, I just want to let you know that if you are new to me, and you don't know that I say that we are sentient, celestial, eternal beings. We're the ones who are creating the matter. So what's the matter? You're the matter, and your matter is divine. So if you are experiencing something in your world that you don't care for, you want to look in the mirror and say, where do I need to set a boundary? How do I need to go about communicating what my needs are? Where in me do I feel like a victim or a perpetrator? That's possible too. No judgment. So think about that while you choose. I shut off all my technology. While you choose your deck, and you might choose the deck for different reasons. Maybe one deck, there's 3 decks. There will be, hang on, Oracle of the 7 Energies. Colette Baron-Reid is the first deck. Second deck is the Starseed Oracle. Rebecca Campbell and Danielle Noel. That is the second deck. And I was just about to pull the third one. I think we can do crystals. Colette Baron-Reid, the Crystal Spirits for crystals. So that's the third one. So you might want to pull a card or focus on one deck specific for your sun sign, for your rising sign, for your moon sign, or a specific issue or the recent past to explain just what happened, or the present or the future. So think about how you'd like to portion out these cards, and you might be thinking for someone else. It's like, oh, my kid, my mother, my best friend, I'm going to pick a card for them and get some insight for them. So please remember to share, like, subscribe, and I appreciate that. So, and in astrology, and let me just show you what we have going on here. The planets don't do anything to you. No, they don't. We live in a cooperation with the cosmos, so that when the planets make a move, you feel it. When you make a move, it's reflected by way of aspects and angles in a chart. That's all it is. You are not a puppet. All right, so, before we actually go there, let's just look at, let me get this one. Okay, or this one. Let's just look at what's happening. We have Venus is in Libra, soon to be in Scorpio. Then we have the Sun and Mars conjunct within 8 degrees of Sagittarius. So that tells me people are much more motivated now to get something done, to travel, to research what they want to do next, and to stake their claim on a cause and go forward with it. So you're gathering intel. So we have Mercury in Sagittarius, and it is soon to go retrograde. We'll talk about that next week on the 7th, December. Already, we're talking about Mercury in retrograde on December 7th. And then we have still Pluto in Capricorn. It will be moving into Aquarius in 2024. And that represents a huge shift for the next 19 years on this planet. What you're doing personally, how it affects others, even more so, how technology can be incorporated into that, what that looks like for you, vibrational healing. I mean, it's a whole bevy of stuff. And I'm going to focus on that in my 2024 Outlook sessions. So here's where you can grab those. Okay. And then we have Neptune in Pisces retrograde, Saturn's in Pisces direct. And that combo can really bring up for a lot of people the that victim voice, but also the ideal vision and how to do it. Like, here's the image I want. Here's what I want to create. This is how I'm going to go about it. by doing some research. And then Jupiter still retrograde. We'll talk about that next week in Taurus, and Uranus in Taurus also retrograde. And we will talk about that next week because they are soon to go direct. And right now we have the moon in Cancer, and that changes very quickly within a few days or less. So that's the basic astrological outlook right now. But in the meantime, let's go with the cards. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please share, like, subscribe. You can comment as well, and also on Facebook. But remember that you're the one making the choice. So I want you to tune in right now, get really calm. And whether you're watching this live or in a replay, what you're experiencing is the present moment. That's all it is. It's always now. What time is it? Now. All right. So the first deck we're looking at is Oracle of the Seven Energies. Colette Baron-Reid. That is the first deck. Make your choice. Second deck is the Starseed Oracle by Rebecca Campbell, and the artwork is by Danielle Noel. And the third choice today is another Colette Baron-Reid. And you know what I love about my birthday and Christmas is that I asked for different decks. So we'll be getting some new decks soon. Oracle cards. The Crystal Spirit. That is the third choice. So let me move this, have room. How is everyone? Are we excited to be here and alive at this time? I hope so. All right, let's start with deck one, Oracle of the Seven Energies. I want you to focus on whichever choice you made for whichever reason, topic, sun, rising, and moon, or issue, that your higher inner being is guiding you. And that's all it ever is. Higher inner being is guiding you. For those who chose the Oracle of the Seven Energies, we have one with a clarifier. It is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. I'll see what she has to say in the book, but it is what it is what it is. So when you look at something in your world and you say, I wonder if I ought to be going in that direction. Well, how do you feel about it? Because it is what it is. This image is what it is, but it's not dictating to you. So when you look at something, and in numerology, it's a number 6. So if you've got some family issues going on, or you work with the community and you're wondering how to best solve their problem, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can't. Let's look at the clarifier. Oh, okay. This is huge. Broken open. So in whatever situation or issue that you are facing now, and I'm going to look to see what Colette has to say. Whatever issue or situation that you're facing now, just remember that. And if we look at the image, it's a doorway. Yes. And it's got beautiful, sparkly things all over it. And if you could look at a door as a portal, yes, I love that word. So do a lot of mystical, metaphysical people. But when you look at a door, and ask yourself, is it locked or closed to me? Can I go in this direction? How could I open this door? Is it beckoning me? Is it asking me to take a chance because of the mystical imagery all around it? And I see the pathway in front of it. This doorway is right in front of you. So if you could just imagine that you are ready to move forward in life, because where you are is where you are. But if you're ready to take that leap and go to the next level of you, that would be broken open. You will find that there's a great amount of energy that you have been storing and withholding and keeping yourself kind of private. So let's see what she says. If you can release your attachment to getting what you want, you'll be just surprised by how much energy you have for more important things. Liberated from the burden of yearning, you'll have access to what is best for all. And best for all, meaning you, your immediate environment, family, friends, and community that you work for. Because if you feel directed and your trajectory is there, but you're thinking, I can't leave them behind, or what will they say if I take this step? I know some people right now, some clients who are just liminal, one foot in two worlds, and they're not sure that if they go in the direction that they are choosing for themselves to achieve this, really seeing who they are and accessing their deeper inner spirit and divine self, then they might have to say goodbye to what's behind them or what's in their current arena. So Colette says, radically accept life on life's terms when you stop fighting against it and instead fight for what you truly desire. More of the world becomes available to you. I personally don't fight, because when you fight, there's a loser. So I respect Colette, of course, but I wouldn't say fight for what you want. I would say be true to who you are and what your needs are and which direction you would like to go in. Hey, Campbell's here. Hi, Campbell. So broken open is huge, because I want to focus on this one, the clarifier, because it's a 28, and in numerology, 8 it could be considered big business or profound awareness, helping others, especially financially, or looking at how you can accelerate your learning capacity to become the next level of you. And then the 2 in the 28 is all about partnerships and how do you work with someone in order to move forward. 8 plus 2 equals a 10, which is a 1. 10 is also stardom and fame. Not that everyone's seeking that, but you could be bonused for something, a thought that you had, an idea that brings people together, that helps to solve a problem. But in the meantime, what happens is that you access a deeper part of yourself that you have not been willing to do before. So let's see what she says. 28. Okay. And, with broken open, the expression on her face is very serene. But if anyone here, of course, if you live on planet Earth, everyone here watching this and live or in a replay has experienced something where they have profound grief. And so with profound grief comes that awareness that sometimes we suffer over our suffering, and we get stuck. When in neuro training, if you want to break a pattern, you recognize the triggers that go along with it. Like if you're trying to lose weight and you walk and it's the holidays and everyone's serving up something, that you can't eat, or you think, oh, if I could only, you create resistance, and resistance is this opposition within yourself that says, I want it, but I can't have it. And there's a goal in mind. Of course, maybe you have diabetes, or maybe the doctor said, you got to be careful. I can't have sugar, or you got to watch out for too much beef because the cholesterol, whatever. And you say, oh, I really want this thing. When we stop wanting something, we remove the buffer between ourselves and the thing. And I've talked about this for 40 years. When you stop wanting something, you relax the energy and you're no longer attached to the outcome. But instead, in the moment, you can find a solution that comes to you that eases that resistance and that softens that feeling of guilt or shame. It's like, oh, I had chocolate. I'm not supposed to have chocolate. I'm allergic to blah, blah, and I can't have it. Or, so we don't want to hide in the closet eating a bag of potato chips, right? So if there is a product, and I'm just going with that particular scenario, if there is a product, a thing, an issue, a person that you are conflicted about, or you're trying to resolve and you can't, and the grief is there, then sit with the grief and make a friend of it, knowing that it's on its way out. It doesn't mean you let go. I knew somebody once a long time ago who said to me, I can't be happy because so-and-so passed on 6 months ago. I can't use wrapping paper at holiday time because so-and-so passed on. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So you feel it would be a disservice to their spirit? Or, and they said, yeah, I feel like it would be dishonoring them if I celebrated here and now while they, it's like, but if you think of where they are now instead of where they were when you knew them, you would be celebrating, because really it's embracing the fact that whether someone leaves your life, they leave the planet, you're fired from a job, when you leave something, you're given a gift. And that is perspective, and that is broken open, because then you can face a deeper part of yourself and let go. So hang on, let's see. So that you can be in the here and now and celebrate the gift of life. So if you do fall prey to self-absorption or self-pity, it will just make it harder to get to the next gradual phase leading to relief. There's grief to relief. So yet, even if you are prolonging the inevitable, you will get there eventually. And she also calls it a gift. This gift is in accepting who you've become as a consequence of integrating this difficult experience and allowing to be more than who you were. Now, we can never go back in time, ever. I mean, science has proven this. You can't go back in time, but we have memories, and we relive those memories, and then those feelings are ignited. So if I remember my mother grieving her sister's passing for years, for 30 something years. And I said, Mom, she's here with us just in a different way. And I know you miss her. And you look at pictures and you talk about her and you refer to, oh, Tony would have loved that, or that's what I used to do with my sister. That's so valid. Absolutely. But then look at where she is now. And that idea of let me broaden my perspective and turn it around and look from the other side of the window, and let me look out instead of looking in. And then let me look in order to change some stuff. That's the broken open part, right? Because the situation of the past is what it is and you cannot change it, yet there is a door in front of you. And if you chose the Oracle of the Seven Energies as your primary deck, then you're about to experience, remember this is for December, and we're entering into a Mercury in retrograde. And Mercury in retrograde represents you going backward, you stepping back into the past in order to resolve it and ask these questions. If someone comes back into your life, if something falls out of a book and you go, oh, I remember that piece of artwork. Should I revisit that? So do I revisit? Do I renew? Do I renegotiate? Do I release? Then I am refreshed. I am starting over from everything I've experienced to now. So when the grief comes, don't deny it. You can't change what happened. However, in this moment, and neurologically speaking, when you have an issue, you can say, all right, I'm going to feel it because I don't want to deny my feelings, but I'm not going to lament and continuously lament and lament, because that sets up an energy vibration that brings to you limitation, that brings to you more reminders of lamenting. Make sense? So then you feel your feelings and then start to bridge a little bit. Oh, I feel really sad because they let me go and I really wanted to work at this job. And now how am I going to pay my bills? But you know what? The bridge. I really feel supported by this universe. I'm a celestial, eternal being. I feel things. I'm not going to deny that, but then I'm going to take a little bit look up. I'm going to maybe put my talents and resources into the world and be of service, not at the sake of yourself, however. And I'm going to start to feel a little bit better because I know my needs are met. And then go neutral. And then I really love my pillow. And I love when it rains, or I love autumn, and I love the chill in the air. I love my sweaters. There is no judgment against you loving something or liking something amidst the feeling of loss or grief or letting go of the past. I tell my clients all the time, every 3 to 6 months, you need to get into your closets and drawers and purge. Give it away, throw it away, recycle it, make those old shredded t-shirts into rags that you can clean the windows with, and you have a new perspective on life. Okay, so that's Oracle of the Seven Energies for deck number 1. And just remember that when you're in the midst of something of the past and you want to let go and it's sentimental, and you can relive it and go, oh, I remember, wow. And, my cousin, one of my cousins passed on. And she gave me this little cup that I love, and 2 of them. And I was using it for something else and it broke. And I thought, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. And I could feel her and I could hear her say, you have another one. I was like, okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. I have another one and I use it. So it's amazing how when you listen, your intuition, your higher inner being will come through and talk to you and help you to soothe those regrets of the past. Now, also, and this is for everyone, not just deck number 1 or choice number 1, but when you are having any kind of issue that's hard to get through, in order to break the pattern from the prefrontal cortex, because the body holds memory to a certain degree, but then doesn't. And then your mind keeps bringing it back. So you are the electrical component that keeps like charging that thing. I remember when my dad beat me and I was 3, or I remember when they let me go and I never got paid for that last thing, so it's like you're the one who keeps recalling it. So what you can do to break that pattern is you can clap your hands 5 times. This is an actual neurological technique. Break the pattern, clap your hands 5 times, burst into song for 5 seconds, or do a combination of both, jump up and down 5 times, and or set a timer for 16 to 20 seconds and just watch the timer count down, because your brain cannot hold that electrical charge for more than 20 seconds. And so then you are aware of the person inside who's saying, but I want to be angry and I want to feel righteous and I want to be, sorrowful. So whatever it is, then you can replace that moment. Break the pattern, jump up and down, and then you replace it with something present tense and positive. I am so grateful that my shoes fit, that I have a cozy sweater. I'm so grateful for, autumn weather. I'm so grateful for, and you fill in the blank. And I always like to end with, I love that I am love. So I just, give yourself a little sugar, the best kind at the holidays. Okay. Second deck. Let me take a sip. Thanks for joining me, whether you're here live, watching and not commenting, and or you are seeing this in a replay. We are in the present moment together. And the amount of energy that you can generate from your heart just by looking at something that gives you satisfaction and pleasure and joy, that is the healing right there. Okay, Starseed Oracle is numero 2. So if you chose this, let me just get into it real quick and focus on this. Sometimes the decks are stiff or they're too big and I can't hold them. Starseed Oracle, for those who chose this deck, could be for your sun, rising, or moon, for a specific issue, for the past, present, the future. It's what you're creating. The cards aren't just randomly telling you what to do. It's your higher inner being that is drawn to. That's your intuition at work. They are sticking together, so I'm going to give them another flippy shuffle. That one. And a clarifier. Wow. I've never pulled that one before. Okay, so the first card that came out in the second choice is Big Picture Thinking, Pleiades Energy, Visionary, Inspired Ideas. Big Picture Thinking. All right, those of you who chose deck numero dos, number 2, take a look at this portal, another portal. It's a collaborative portal because the pathway moves off to one direction, but it moves through and to something bigger. And in the background, there are light beings guiding you. You see those, folks? Light beings are guiding you. And it looks like Sedona upside down. Big picture thinking. Pleiades, energy, visionary, inspired ideas. Whether or not you see yourself as a starseed or you see yourself as having a connection to your team in spirit, the Pleiades is, and I have many pals and friends from different systems and dimensions, and all kinds of beings. And the Pleiades has an energy of much more intellectual, purposeful. Okay, they're not Vulcanish, but it's more like, we can get this done. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? How do you want to do it? Let's just focus on it. Because, folks, whatever you put your energy and focus on is what grows. And so the second card, the clarifier, is perspective. And so no matter what is happening that is stopping you from moving through to bigger, greener pastures, perspective, and it says, none of this matters. Zoom out, common ground. So when you pull all the way in and you say, oh my gosh, I can see the moon and there's a face in the moon, or there's a place I want to go, just take a step back according to this perspective. Now, she doesn't have numbers on the cards, so I have to actually go alphabetically. So let me go to big picture. Okay. The Pleiadians are our cosmic cousins. They're here to remind us that it's never too late to learn new things and to change the future. You're being called to be a visionary for the planet. Okay, that's no small thing. So if you are working in any industry right now, I want you to be as present as possible while we're talking. You're likely a natural big picture thinker, here to generate ideas for the future, here to birth a new age and dream a new world into being. The future will be woven by dream makers like you. So you don't want to be so granular in your thinking. In fact, you want to step back, because, there's a lot of types of people on this earth. And there are people who stand by and watch stuff happen. There are people who are afraid to be part of something. There are people who just move forward and plow through. Like my husband will jump in like he did. We went on a trip a long time ago to the Colorado River, rafting trip. And I was in the back holding on to like something because there wasn't a lot to hold on to. And I was like, oh my gosh. And we were doing that. My husband just dove right into the Colorado. And I pulled out my camera, took a picture, and I have that picture frozen in time of his feet in the air and his hands in the water. I don't know how that worked out, but it did. And I think of that often, like, he is such a go-getter. And he's a big picture person. I'm a whole picture person. I like to stand back, take it in, feel the vibe, put it together, and then I trust my gut. It's like, Dean, the door is open. We got to go. And he's like, all right. Because he has no problem jumping in. He trusts my intuition, and now he's trusting his own. So the world needs more artists, dreamers, inventors, and visionary thinkers. Perhaps you've had an idea recently that you're being called to usher in. If so, this card is your confirmation that it's divinely guided. Okay, so that means you have support. You have team and spirit working with you, deck number 2, and the door is right in front of you. Interesting that the first door was closed because someone needs to step back and deal with what's going on the inside first. This is more of a confirmation that are you ready? Are you ready? All you have to do really is get perspective of where you want to go and how you want to do it. Because when it says nothing, none of this matters. So what if you don't donate at Christmas? You can donate in March. So what if you don't go to that big party? Go with the vibration. And this is for everybody, every deck. Hey, Ricard's here. Go with the vibration that feels the most appropriate. Not right, not wrong. We are not doing extremes. Not good, not bad. Appropriate. Appropriate has no judgment on it. Appropriate is what's best for you. So when you stand back and you're just kind of like getting a bird's eye view of what's happening, because you know you're going forward, whatever it is that you're working on, whether it's with a team, maybe you have employees, or maybe you're thinking of starting something that isn't out there. And you're like, well, how's that going to work? Well, I guess I could pull a little bit from this. I could hack that color scheme, or I could do this. And then that's the creative part of you that has been activated and being activated, especially in December with a Mercury in retrograde. So your thoughts are not going to be on stopping and sticking points. It's going to be, let me flow with it. I need to pull back right now. So you're going to be more intuitive about it, deck number 2. And I think that this is a really great time as well because of the Mercury in retrograde, and not because the planet's doing anything and the planet's not moving backwards. Just look at a racetrack. If a horse on a racehorse track, if a horse or a runner is in front and somebody is being passed, it doesn't mean the person being passed is moving backwards. So that's the perspective of the planetary configuration during retrograde motion. And if you're on another planet, if you're on Mars, Mercury is not going to look retrograde. So they call them stations in astronomy. And so when a planet goes station direct or station retrograde, I want you to look at it as like a mirror or symbolic of you inside needing to just hang back to get perspective. Hang back and feel your feelings and think about it. Different than the first deck, which the first deck was more about you have to do some healing and clearing on the inside to let go. But this is more about, let me just see what exists. Sorry about that. So that you can heed the call and move forward, because you're also contemplating this. Whoopsie. You're contemplating this down here. It's like, where was I last year at this time? What did I do then? Oh, wow. Okay. So it's good to look back, but in a different way, not from an emotional guilt point, but more from a place of, I met somebody last year at an event, and this is so my husband, Dean. And when I say, oh gosh, I would love to do this thing 5 years ago, he says, I met somebody. Because he goes to a lot of we are lifelong learners. So he goes to a lot of workshops that speak to him, not just random to get out of town, but because he's learning something to put my business to the next level. And so since he manages my business, he has met these amazing entrepreneurs who say, yeah, so what? You screw up, you flub up. Here's how you can redirect. Here's how you can fix it. Here's how you can. So he meets people he can talk to. And he said, oh my gosh, could have had a V8. I am a former animator, okay, from way back. I love animation. I watch animated films with our kids. And anyway, so my husband said, we're going to make not a doodle video, which is where you see like an animated black and white drawing and you hear a narration of like, hey, how many times have you tried to invest in this product and blah, blah. And then you see these pictures, but an actual, with images of people. If you've ever watched Abraham Hicks videos on YouTube, it's more like that. Anyway, so my husband found somebody to do that. And we're in the final stages of editing, but we just made an animated film for my product, for promoting my product. And I was like, I love it. I'm like so excited about this. And we're seeing how the animated version of marketing is going to fare against the, that's the perspective part, against the, let's stand back and see how we've been doing it live or long form sales letter, or now it's going to be an animated video. So anything that's happening, if you chose deck number 2, anything that's happening in your world where you don't know the answer, I think the spark for you is coming up with the inspiration to divine the solution. Oh, wait, I think I know somebody who can do that. You want to build a building. You're like, who do I know who can do tiling or flooring? Oh my gosh, I just went to dinner with someone and their brother does this. I'm going to give them a call. So this is how we network, especially with this particular card of big picture thinking. So big picture thinking for you is looking at the issue or the topic that you'd like to expand upon. And even if it's a relationship issue and you're thinking, I really want to move forward and this person is kind of slower, they're not going in the direction that I was hoping we could go in. Now it's time for a conversation, heart to heart, not to impose your desires, but to say, here's where I am with this. And where are you? And let's talk about it. Or do you have any fears? Are there any hesitations or limitations? Because this is my trajectory and I'd love to hold hands with you and skip toward the future. So think on that, big picture thinking, and also meditate, because meditate more for everyone, but really meditate more if you chose deck number 2, because Starseed Oracle is about bringing in help, and not out of desperation or need, but out of collaboration. And sometimes the big picture thinking always includes, I would say all times, big picture thinking includes higher inner being separation, collaboration instead of separation. Like, I got to do this myself. That would be separation. But collaboration is, I'm going to meditate and the answer is going to come to me. The answer is, I was having a minor health thing where I was having these heart palpitations, and we thought it was my doctor and I thought it was one thing, and it seemed to, work with that. And then I was like, it was happening again and happening again. And I was like, all right, I need to just be my own medic. So I meditated, and I meditate every day, but specific Joe Dispenza meditations. It's not for relaxation. It is for, moving the consciousness into the quantum realm and finding the vibration. Everything's a wave. Finding the vibration that matches my desire or the need for my solution. And I match it and I bring it in. And then I get up and I go, make dessert or dinner or take a walk or watch a show or do what I do. And then suddenly, I just got the solution. And I discovered that it wasn't one palpitation, it was 3 different kinds, and they happened at different times. So I was able to get so specific about what was happening that solved the problem. Solved with my team in spirit. Okay, that was great. That was a good one. And now we're going to move on to the crystal spirits. How is everybody doing? Lynn, hi. Rikara, Campbell, and anyone else that I see is not speaking, but is here. Thank you for being here. The biggest, easiest way to get what you want in life is to follow the vibration of joy and satisfaction. And then when you are feeling kind of crappy, that's when you relax, you nurture yourself, cup of tea, something good to eat, hydration, rest. I mean, it's so simple. And then you create that bridge. I was that. I am this. I'm moving toward that. I'm moving toward wholeness. I'm moving toward wellness. I'm moving toward joy. I'm moving toward satisfaction. I'm moving toward appreciation. If you're stuck in a loop, clap your hands, jump up and down, burst into song, 5 seconds, 5 times, or set the clock, watch it 16 to 20 seconds. That charge will fade. Now you replace it with something neutral to positive. I'm so grateful for, and fill in the blank. Okay, crystal spirit, Colette Baron-Reid. Ooh. Okay. Let's see what we got here. I don't know this stone, and I don't know if I could pronounce it. Aegerin? Sounds like a character in Game of Thrones. Aegerin? Aegirine? Anybody know this one? It looks like tourmaline, right? Wait a minute. Where's my tourmaline? It says black tourmaline, also known as schorl. It's a great grounding stone. That's what this looks like. And I also have a green tourmaline. Oops. All right. There's my green tourmaline wand. That's what this looks like. I have no idea what this is. It is a number 1. Let's start at the beginning. All right. I'll have to go to the book for this one. And the second one is carnelian. It's a very vibrant, grounding energy stone. So let's go to 1. Does anybody know that stone? I do not. I'm going to have to get one and play with it. Okay. Integrity, solidarity, impeccability, reliability, and consistency. So if you chose the crystal deck, you're being called to be constant in your values, even though we are always transforming, says the book. It's important that you have a consistent value system. So what does it say? Your personal integrity matters. So if you're feeling pressured to say yes when your heart says no, or to be something you're not, listen to the message. Aegirine spirit brings you. Now is a time to remember the importance of being reliable and impeccable with your word. So even though you are changing or transforming, you're going to stand solid like that building that has been around forever. I mean, my husband and I went to Scotland and Ireland this past summer. It was a delayed honeymoon. We never really got to go on. So, and that's where we wanted to go 29 years ago. So we went and we stayed in a building converted into apartments that was, 350 years old. And you walk around town going, that was the castle keep, and you could still visit it, but it's been here for ever. So, and it's reliable. So if there's a part of you that is vacillating on a value, it's important that you stay true to your word and not waffle no matter what. I mean, feelings of obligation come in when people go, oh, hey, can you drive me to the airport, at 5 p.m. rush hour, right as you get out of work, and you're thinking, I would any other time, but I have other obligations that feel truer to me. I think the theme with all of these cards is to really be true to yourself and to pause and to listen to what this particular card is. Let me see what else she says in here, what this card is saying as far as being true to your word and having the you don't want to you don't want to sound like a bully, but you want to be firm and strong and say, I would love to, always start with something complimentary when someone is asking you to do something. I would love to. Unfortunately, I have to do this other thing, but can I help you find a solution? That's always a great way to go. So then you don't dishonor yourself and there's no hard feelings. Does that make sense? Okay. Also, if you are feeling unsure, doubting whether you have a right to take a stand, become still and reconnect with the conscious universe through this crystal. It's not your job to protect everyone's feelings and keep the peace at all costs. Yeah, not your job, not your responsibility. So if you're not feeling it, you just, let them know in a kind and healthy way. And carnelian is all about confidence. So the clarifier is stay strong, yes, in what you want, but look at the face. There are faces in the carnelian. So it's like a little message, little message like, yoo-hoo. You have to be really true to, and I'm looking at the book now, true to what you feel, because there's no shame in feeling unsure as you leave the unfamiliar behind. So with a combination of these two stones, I would say right now, if you're wanting to make a decision that you feel is going to be judged, if you feel like it's going to put you in a different standing with a relationship, and that relationship can be a business relationship, friend, family, employee, employer relationship. I once had a client who had her own business and she was a doctor. And we had these conversations that were more about her being afraid of her office manager. And I was like, oh my gosh, you have so much power. You have so much kindness. You need a front person so that you're not always, so you attracted someone strong, brava. But at the same time, you don't let that person rule you and your choices. So it's time to find the balance, is what these cards are saying, in helping yourself to feel assured with confidence in that what you feel is appropriate. It doesn't matter what anybody else says or thinks about you. And that's the glitch that you come across if you chose this, or that's the glitch that you're encountering now or will encounter this month. Carnelian talks about dignity and poise. And what you can say, and this is the thing too with setting boundaries, you can say no thank you with a smile. Hey, would you like to get together? We're all going down to this thing, but oh, thank you so much for asking. No, thank you. That's it. If you don't know someone very well, or you're being included in a group situation and you're not really comfortable with the group, thank you. No, thank you. No doesn't mean you're ugly, fat, or stupid. No means no, thank you. No means no is a boundary, and it just means, yeah, that's not for me. Thank you so much. So the prosperity message for carnelian, and I don't have a carnelian here. I think it's in the next room. But anyway, the prosperity message is you are called today to be confident in your strengths and to feel self-assured as you deal with unexpected challenges or boldly move forward into uncharted territory to explore its possibilities for you. Feel the strength of the conscious universe propelling you forward. Walk with dignity and grace, for you are truly capable of co-creating all you need and more. And when we combine these cards, oh, and carnelian is a 14. So we look at the 14 as, okay, there's a 1, that's independence, and a 4. A 4 energy in numerology is like the accountant. All right, I got a lot to do. I got to work. I got a lot of boxes. I'm organizing all my boxes alphabetically, and then I'll get to each of the files and I'll get everything done. And I roll up my sleeves, and a 4 is hard work. A 4 can break down into a 22, which is a master number. And the 4 says, I got all these boxes I got to take care of. I got to get to work. And the 22 is like the oversoul that says, honey, there are no boxes. It's do what feels appropriate. If you want to start at the back of the file and move forward, do that. If you want to take lunch in between, do that. If you want to take some files home with you, do that. Because it's all about what's appropriate for you and learning how to feel like you're the adult in the room with polite gratitude for other people's suggestions. Thank you for your suggestion. That's what you want to say. Thank you for your suggestion. Because some people are powerhouses and they'll come in and just, it's like, oh, yeah, we got to do this. We got to do that. We got to do this. And you're like, oh, okay. And then you don't know what to do first, and you're stacking stuff, and that's the 4. But that's the 4 energy. But a 14 breaks to a 5, and a 5 is all about transformation. So right now in December, you're going to be called, if you chose deck 3, the crystal spirit, with Adrian, with the Game of Thrones stone. You're going to be called to stand fast with confidence and dignity and a lot of politeness, and look back. A 5 sits on a rocker, and it moves back. It thinks about it. It moves forward. Where would I like to go? A 5 is also an energy that feels a little aloof at times, or is polite but never gives detailed information. So you really feel like you don't always know a person who's vibing a 5. And a 5 could be your birthday. A 5 could be your birth time. It could equal that. A 5 can be the day you're on. It depends in numerology what we're looking at. But overall, the vibe for this carnelian is to really look at what you've done, where you've been, and where you could go without taking everyone else into account. This is about your decision, really, and to set a boundary in a healthy way. I just want to read the first one, relationship message, because that's coming up for me too right now. Ba-ba-da-ba. How is everyone today? I hope this is helpful for you. And remember to get your 2024 Oracle, 2024 Outlook for the year. Click the link in the thread. So, okay. Agarine, relationship. Do you struggle with trusting others? Okay, that's the other thing that was coming up for me. You need to trust yourself first. And that's so important. So if you get a vibe on someone, if you chose deck number 3 and you get a vibe on someone, it's an employer, an employee, a friend, a potential friend you might meet at a dinner party in the holidays, a lover, a relative, and you get this vibe. They're saying one thing, but you get a different vibe. You need to trust that. And it doesn't mean you have to call people out on it. It just means you need to trust it so you know what decision you're going to make moving forward with this person, if you move forward with this person at all. And the greater message here, which I love, is your strength and integrity will inspire others to show up as strong and reliable. So hold your ground. Hold your ground and stay in your integrity and what you value, so that as you're learning to set those boundaries, as you learn to set those boundaries, you're learning to really be this person that people see as dependable, reliable, but not a pushover, and can't pull the wool over your eyes. And you can be seen as an authority with a soft touch. You can be seen as someone who has great integrity because you're being honest with yourself. If you're honest with you, then you're honest with them in a way that, no, thank you, is polite. Prosperity for this one. Adrian. Know where you are willing to bend and where you are not. Be in touch with what matters most to you, knowing that abundance takes many forms. And what I like to tell people is that abundance, look at the opposite. If you feel like you have lack in your life, and lack would look like money, sex, relationships, creativity, family connectivity, spiritual debt. I mean, there's a lot of forms of debt. So what's the opposite? And that is abundance. So you want to focus on building up abundance of integral strength and honoring that, and then being firm. I mean, people will look at, there's a holiday sale and I really want that thing. I've always wanted that thing. And then you stop and go, well, I don't know. I did 5 years ago, but do I now? No. or I'll just put it on a Christmas list or a holiday list. And if somebody gives it to me, great. If not, I'm good with that. So you want to be really honest with yourself first, because integrity starts on the inside, right? Everything starts on the inside. And so when you're delving into new directions with people, it's gonna, hey, come on out tonight. We're having a big bash. And so, and it's like, usually you're in your pajamas by 8:30 and you think, I don't know. Okay, let me see how I feel. Not, you know, not, would it be okay? Mm-mm. You don't need to ask permission if it's okay for you to go out or stay home. It's, you know what? Let me just feel it out and I'll get back to you. Thanks so much for offering, for inviting. So you're standing in a very strong place, but it doesn't come off as, concrete brick in the face. Make sense? I know, how many times have you been to a restaurant and asked the waitress or the waiter, would it be all right if I had this? Or could I get this, please? I just want to hear them say, no, you can't. Where do you go from there? You burst out laughing. So it's, I'd like to have this. Would it be possible instead of this side dish? Could we substitute with that? That's a valid way of staying in integrity and asking for your needs to be met without sounding offensive or sounding like a pushover. So I hope that is helpful for you. I want you to stay strong in who you are. And remember that every decision that you make comes from your feeling and based on past experiences. So if you know something in the past is affecting you now, how many times I've heard people go, oh no, I don't do that. That happened, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, that I don't do that anymore. It's like, okay, but you're not the same person. We hope you've changed. And so the situation is different. The surrounding is different. But if you are the same, you will have the same outcome. Think on that, because you want to be transforming and changing just like the leaves do. They fall, the buds grow, they bloom, they fall. I mean, the cycle. We are in a cycle always. So I'm just going to bring it back to, and thank you. That wraps that up for deck number 3. And I want to bring it back to what's happening in the chart right now. So with Venus connecting with the South Node in Libra, that is being, South Node represents been there, done that, moving away from, letting go of. Venus represents finances, romance, protection, having good defense systems in place. Maybe it's, a light outside your front door. Maybe it's having the sheriff's phone number because there have been some break-ins in the neighborhood. So you just have like things in place. Not that you're focusing on that, because we don't want to bring that energy to you, but we don't want to fear it either. You are empowered, but you're letting go of being indecisive and wishy-washy. You're letting go of that and moving toward decisive action. Toward the North Node is the open door to the future. The South Node has been there, done that. Whether it was toxic or you just completed something. So Venus is there letting you know, listen, if you're overspending, let's just keep an eye on that. If you are being stingy with yourself, but you buy everything for everybody else, let's just watch those extremes. If you are just, down on yourself because you feel guilty about something and you're just like cramming in the carbs and the sugar, let's watch the extremes. We have to, with Libra energy, watch adrenals as well. And then we have this pairing of the Sun and Mars in Sagittarius. And that means there are a lot of people who are like hitting the ground running with something. Oh, yep, I'm going to schedule that thing for next year. Oh, yep, I got to get my calendar in order. I just did that today through February. Got my calendar together so that when people book sessions, I am prepared. And based on my needs, not what I think, oh, people like night readings. People have asked me, do you do work at night? And I don't. So that's why I make certain days and weekends available for people to accommodate to a degree. So the energy right now is you want to judge less. Now, this is a very, it can be a very big energy with so much Sagittarius, but it's enthusiastic, but you don't want to overindulge in anything. Talking, eating, drinking, sleeping, brooding, it's like whatever the the feeling is you don't want to make it so big that that's all you see or feel. Because as we head into the Mercury in retrograde, and we're going to talk about this at length for each of the signs next week. So please join me next Thursday. We're going to talk about what Mercury in retrograde represents, because it'll be hitting 2 signs. And we want to look at that and how that mirrors what you might be undergoing. And then Pluto in Aquarius, we talked about that earlier. It is making a negative angle to Venus and South Node. So that means it doesn't feel good to go to extremes. It doesn't feel good to feel bad about it afterwards. It's like TNT for the psyche. It's time to clean up your vibe and your energy. Overcommitting, saying yes to everyone, people pleasing, that falls into this category as well. So overspending, all the overs and the overtures. Unless you're sitting in an audience and someone's singing, just skip the overtures. Okay. And then the rest we talked about a little bit, but I think we're good for now. Okay, folks. So thank you for being here. Remember, you can get your 2024 outlook in advance. So we're going to cover what the year looks like, what you're creating, and how Pluto in Aquarius, which is going to be huge for this planet. It's a huge shift in awareness and transformation. That's what it represents. It doesn't mean the planet is doing it to you. So just keep that in mind and book your session. And then, as always, get out there and smile. Pick up some leaves and tape them to your window. Just like revel in the moment of love and being, and find a color, a scent, a flavor, a comfy couch, a book that you love to read, a magazine, a favorite TV show, but not to get too lost in that. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, just be. And it doesn't mean that you're not caring about the world and the issues in the world. It means you're putting love into yourself, which means you are emitting a frequency, and that is the vibe. This is the wave that everything hails from, everything and every moment. And then there's the particle, which is the thought that takes you down or helps you to solve the problem. Yes, but then come back to the wave and be in that moment of joy, because when you do that, you literally help to lessen the stress in the world. Come on. It's not that hard, folks. In fact, it's easy. So just be present. And then you are the gift, and you see that. As always, I wish you peace, and I will see you next week. Mercury in retrograde.